Hare Krishna, will start with the invocation. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalaka Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Teen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Panchakalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today we will aim to complete chapter 2. And next class we will revise chapter 2. I had sent you all the template that we'll use at our next class. We'll anyway share towards the end of our class today also. And after we finish chapter 2 today, I will answer inquiries submitted. It's possible that we may not be able to cover all the inquiries that are submitted. So rest of the inquiries I will answer in our subsequent classes. So last week, I had sent you all this very important mind control lecture. Many of you have heard it with rapt attention, and all of you realized the importance of how and why to control the mind. The acronym MIND, MIND itself was eye-opener. That M means mind magnifies problems and makes it worse than what it is. I is mind imagines pleasure. N is mind neglects opportunities. And D, mind denies reality, that mind is the problem. And there were many other important points in the lecture that look at the mind before you look with the mind, or do not be problem conscious, but be Krishna conscious. Don't tell God how big the problem is. Rather, tell the problem how big God is. So I just want to, although all of you populated on the Google form your responses from the very important mind control lecture, just want all of you to just have a discussion on your realizations with this mind control lecture. Somebody?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I really find the mind lecture very helpful. It made me realize how we start a problem and how mind is the culprit of starting off a problem, even before it's a problem.
Yeah.
And how we should deal with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the striking point that was a really great striking point for me is the one like the Prabhuji said that don't tell problem that how big the problem is, but tell the problem how big Krishna is. So
Yeah.
that
Very
really
good.
helped.
Yeah, very good. Like this particular lecture of mind control, I have heard it zillions of times. I'm pretty sure you all probably are also in the same space that I want to hear this again and again. So every time your mind distracts you, or every time you have a misery, try to listen to this lecture again and again, and try to bring your mind under control. We'll do a lot of practice. This lecture of mind control definitely plays a significant role of mind control. Okay, rest of you, quickly. Quickly, some realizations that you can discuss here about the mind control lecture. Somebody? You all listen. Many of you populated on the Google form.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna.
The four acronyms, they were very practical. Like
Yeah.
after getting to know them, it's easier to, at least somewhat easier to see that, oh, this is the trick currently
Yeah.
situation I'm.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, mind magnifies problems. Next time you have a problem, just realize what the mind is doing. We have discussed from the start that mind is a separate entity in our body, and we have to treat the mind as an untrusted outsider. Just because the mind says something, don't trust it. Validate it with scriptures first. Very good. Tara?
Prabhuji, mind has been misleading us for millions of lifetimes. That was a great realization for me.
Yeah, in this cycle of creation, mind has been taking us from one life to the other for at least 155 trillion years. And that's a quite length of time.
Yeah.
And who knows, the same mind must have been taking us one life to the other in the previous cycle of creation. And if we don't purify, this mind will continue to take us one life to the other life in the following creation as well. Very good. Anybody else? Anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Death is a reality, and the purpose of thinking about death is we should raise our consciousness from the material world to the spiritual world.
Yeah.
And instead of keep on thinking that we will die one day.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we'll have a heavy discussion about death in chapter 8. That what exactly is death, or how do you have to die? We'll discuss that. Death is inevitable. Therefore, we have to die in a Krishna conscious way, or at least in the mode of goodness way. Krishna conscious could be a challenge, but at least we'll try. All right, very good. Matan Prabhu.
So mind is material. It's only whenever only it is here with us in the material world. When we return to the one day spiritual world, mind doesn't go there. So in a spiritual body, we have a mind.
Yeah, we have a mind in the spiritual world. It's just that everything is spiritual there. So we have a spiritual mind, we have a spiritual body, we have spiritual intelligence, and understand even the material mind right now that we have, it's getting its energy from the soul. Mind is material. Material cannot function at all. It's the soul that is functioning the entire body, including the mind. It's just that the mind has a mind of its own. Madan Prabhu?
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. So continue to listen to this mind control lecture again and again. It definitely will help you to bring your mind in control. I mean, it's not a question that I have to ask whether you have mind in control. It's not a question. It is out of control. Therefore, listen to this lecture every time you have some misery, you have mind deviating you, mind giving you problems. Listen to this lecture and try to calm your mind down. We'll, of course, do a lot of practice. Very soon, we'll be going for services at the Toronto Temple. Our target is to go, if the plan doesn't change, we'll be going to the Toronto temple on 1st December for the Sunday feast help. So those of you who have not done services with me, you might have done services at the temple, but if you have not done services with me and our team, then you should connect with me before coming to the temple so that I can prepare you ahead of time as to what you have to do and what you don't have to do. So let me know if you are available on 1st December from 1 p.m. onwards, and connect with me offline. If many of you will be having this offline conversation, then I can just set up a one call with all of you, but connect with me. All right. So we'll continue from chapter 2, verse number 65 onwards, and try to finish chapter 2 today. Okay, let's see. Abhishek Prabhu, 2.65 translation.
Hare Krishna. 2.65. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established.
What? When you become Sthita Prajna, meaning satisfied in Krishna consciousness, that's when your intelligence will become fixed. And the question becomes, so what do I do till then? How will I become Sthita Prajna? What does it mean that Krishna is saying that the buddhi becomes fixed so late? And why buddhi does not get fixed earlier, or not fixed earlier? So from the time we start hearing scriptures, we start doing devotional services, the buddhi becomes stronger and stronger and moves towards getting fixed. But when we experience the happiness of spirituality, the taste of spiritual life, then our buddhi becomes much stronger and becomes steady. At initial stages of our spiritual life, we cannot just trust our intelligence. I'll repeat this very important punchline. At initial stages of our spiritual life, we cannot just trust our intelligence. We have to expose ourselves to regular scriptural study because scripture is my intelligence. To the extent we remember scriptures, to that extent we act intelligently. And to the extent we forget scriptures, to that extent we act unintelligently. Therefore, you will keep hearing my punchline again and again and again, which you have already heard from day one. My punchline you will keep hearing is, what is the verse for this? Whatever you say, whatever you hear, whatever you see, you try to correlate with Bhagavad Gita verse and try to live and act intelligently. In our case, intelligence means the practice of remembering Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra and acting accordingly. To the extent we don't remember Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we cannot act appropriately. Hence, we put ourselves under trouble. Simultaneous to spiritual intelligence, we may have material intelligence also in terms of processing material information. But this is material intelligence. Material intelligence does not mean one has sense control. Therefore, all these intelligent people, they fall to lust, have affairs. Difference between material and spiritual intelligence is the capacity to process information. So this is material intelligence. But that on its own does not guarantee self-control. For self-control, one needs higher taste based on higher intelligence that comes from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And that intelligence becomes internalized when we experience higher taste. We discussed this higher taste in 2.59. Param drishtva nivartate. Higher taste refers to the taste of devotional service. So Krishna is answering Kim Vrajeta, Arjuna's fourth question, that how does the Nishkam Karma Yogi engage his senses? So we act according to scriptures, meaning scriptures are the borders or the fences that protect us. Krishna says, while doing this, there is a danger that if you don't follow the scriptures, then what happens? Krishna will describe. I will pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. Okay. Dhara 66 translation.
One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
So unless there is basic level of peace, we cannot have happiness. And peace comes when mind and intelligence are focused. If we don't have Krishna as our ultimate goal, then our subtle body, means mind and intelligence, will keep on going here and there. One will not have steadiness and will not have focus. Mind does not have an off switch. Mind is thinking of this and that and running at multiple places at the same time and or to reckless places at great speed. My spiritual master is Grace Vaishnadas Adhikari at one time given this statement about the mind, that mind is always searching for network, just as on your cell phone, you have the Wi-Fi on, and even if you are driving on a highway with the Wi-Fi on, it will still try to search for network. That's exactly what the status of mind is. That mind tries to look for pleasure anywhere and everywhere. This basic level of peace does not mean devotee does not have anxiety or devotee has to live in a secluded, peaceful area, say by the river somewhere in a kutir, where no one is coming to disturb. No. This peace is talking about internal peace and not external. Material world is a place of misery. So this external turbulations will continue no matter what. But if you are internally peaceful, that internal peace will radiate outward. The ultimate goal is the relationship with Krishna and to serve Krishna instead of wanting all other things. Questions, comments, realizations? Okay. Jinal, are you able to read 67 translation and purport?
Yes. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Purport: unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaja Ambarisa, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind.
So Krishna is using example of a boat being carried away by wind to illustrate how one may be dragged away. When a storm comes, a small boat or even a big ship is helpless because the boat is vulnerable. Similarly, we are in the material existence, which is material ocean, and the storm and the wind are the desires. Desires can just sweep us away. So how to deal with the situation while we are in material world? First, we have to understand that we are all vulnerable and we have to protect ourselves. We already discussed earlier that senses are our weak points. When a ship is sailing in a storm, the ship captain orders to take some other way or prepare a defense. Similarly, scriptures tell us that we are in the material ocean. There are certain areas where storms of material desires are far greater. If we go in those stormy areas, meaning, say you go to a bar or you go to a dance enjoyment or whatever sense gratification thing going on, then we are exposing ourselves to unnecessary danger. Therefore, protect yourself. First, you have to forcefully stop exposing yourself to such unnecessary danger, because I do not want to be swept away. So I will not fall prey by avoiding all these and protecting myself outright. Therefore, regulative principles of freedom is my defense. What did we discuss on the regulative principles of freedom at our last class? Somebody quickly. Somebody?
I think, Prabhuji, we need to restrict ourselves first.
Yeah, very good. Rest of you, what did we discuss about regulative principles?
We should stop at the first box. We should stop thinking at the first stage.
Okay, very good. The dhyaya to stop at the very first stage. Very good. So generally, regulations seem like restrictions, but the regulations or the restrictions that we have in ISKCON, they are not restrictions. Krishna has said regulative principles of freedom because they help us from this constant distraction. Therefore, they free us from these distractions. So how we go into a storm, described in here in verse 67, is indriyani hi charatam, that senses are always wandering here and there, for pleasurable object. So just as I described a few minutes ago, that mind is like a cell phone, always searching for network. Instead of searching here and there, we should proactively focus on spirituality. Find out what is the order of Srila Prabhupada and spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada's order is to distribute books. So make this your main focus. First you study and then you preach. Senses are always going to wander. But if we let the mind fix on that, that becomes the problem. As dhyato means imagination is the problem and not drishtva. Drishtva means seeing. Seeing is not the problem. But when we see something and we let our mind run wild, the imagination run wild, that's when the fall down sequence starts, which we populated the 8 stages for 2.62-63 chart at our last class. So 2.67 is very much similar to 2.60 with tiny difference that 2.60 states that senses are so powerful that they carry away the mind. And 2.67 says that when senses wander, mind focuses on the senses, then the mind drags away the intelligence. So initially Krishna was talking about sense control, and for the Kim Asita question, but now Krishna is talking about positive engagement. Therefore, he's saying how to engage your senses proactively in Krishna consciousness. That's the proper way to control the mind and senses. For positive engagement, we need to know what is material and what is spiritual so that we can focus on the spiritual and avoid the material. We have to be engaged in material world. Simultaneously, we have to spiritualize our 24-hour day. Therefore, Krishna is saying that mind should not drag away the intelligence. We are in the midst of dangers, senses and sense objects, but we should not let the mind focus on senses and not let the mind drag away the intelligence by proactively engaging the mind in Krishna conscious activities. When the senses wander and focus on sense objects, mind also looks at the sense objects, and from this time, our delusion will begin. This controlling the mind or not letting the mind drag away this intelligence is possible when we don't let the mind focus on the sense objects. And how you do that is just as you keep a child engaged by giving the child a toy. Similarly, keep your mind proactively engaged in Krishna conscious activities 24 hours. That way, there is very little room or no room for the mind to focus on anything else. So to summarize, when we follow the scriptures, the intelligence is fortified by the scriptures. And then we don't let our mind go here and there. How does one do this to not let the mind get swept away by the desires is described in the next verse, number 68. I will pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. Okay. Paulomi, are you able to read 68 translation and purport?
Yes, Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yeah.
1 second. 68. Yes. So translation says, therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Purport. One can curb the forces of sense gratification only by means of Krishna consciousness, or engaging all the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can be similarly be curbed, not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called a sadhaka, or a suitable candidate for liberation.
So even one of the senses can drag the mind away. So one has to control all the senses. Senses are venomous serpents. Trying to curb the senses does not work. Therefore, Arjuna asked, how does Nishkam Karma Yogi engage his senses? And Krishna is saying, use your senses in Krishna's service rather than trying to curb the senses. Therefore, give your mind a safe playing arena of Krishna conscious activities. Instead of trying to curb all your desires, meaning instead of trying to empty your mind of all desires, the proper approach is to fill your mind with Bhagavad Gita verses, with Kirtan, with beautiful darshan, with services for Krishna, etc. And this way, make a hill of Krishna conscious activities in your mind proactively. Srimad Bhagavatam gives detailed description for each of your senses of how to use each of your senses in Krishna's service, including the reproductive sense. So the other senses are straightforward. So eyes used to use them to look for beautiful darshan of Shri Radha Krishna. Ears hear about Krishna Katha. Tongue only talk about Krishna Katha and honor only prasadam. Hands use them for Krishna's service in cleaning the temple. Legs use them to go to the temple. And for the reproductive organs, the senses, including the reproductive organ, they do not belong to us, they belong to Krishna. So we have to use them in Krishna's service for begetting only nice Krishna conscious children. Rest, we don't have to use the senses at all. That's what is recommended and prescribed in Srimad Bhagavatam for all our senses. So just visualize this. All of us work or do some activity in the material world. Say you work and from your office, you have, say, a laptop or computer or cell phone or whatever device. These devices you are supposed to use for office activity. What will happen if you use these devices for your personal use, like browsing or watching movie, etc.? What will happen?
Probably the admin would know and you might get fired, or it's a bad impression and unprofessional.
Very good. That you may have negative consequences. Similarly, the senses do not belong to us. Senses belong to Krishna. Therefore, one of the name of Krishna is Rishikesh. We discussed this in chapter 1. Rishikesh means master of senses. So we are given all these senses to use in Krishna's service, not otherwise. If we don't use in Krishna's service, well, then we will have consequences exactly how we don't use the office equipment for office purposes. Questions, comments, realizations?
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
This our work in office, like even if we do it properly, still we are giving some input, right, to senses.
Yes.
So that is still going. It's not that when we go out of office, that input is switched off.
Yeah, you are correct. So I have described this earlier, and I'll repeat that at your workplace, be functionally present. That I'm an accountant. Somebody comes to ask me what's the funding amount for so and so vendor or recipient. That's a functional need. I am there. I will engage my senses for that. And whatever I am earning from my work, I will use it in Krishna's service as much as possible. Scriptures do give a reference for this, that you should try to engage at least 50% of your income in Krishna's service. Does not mean if I'm not at 50% level right now, then I have to get dejected. No, we just have to work in that direction. Now, some of you may wonder, well, how is ever going to be possible to make 50% of my income as Krishna's service? So you have to understand, don't consider your home as home. Make your home as Krishna's temple and use the space for worshipping Krishna at your home. Invite devotees at your home for kirtan and prasadam. That way, you don't own the home. Krishna is owning the home. You are just a tenant. And whatever rent or the loan payment that you are making, that goes against Krishna consciousness. So you have to understand from a little broader perspective, rather than saying that physically I'm going to give 50% of my money. Well, if you use your home as temple and serve devotees, that becomes your Krishna conscious activity. Does that help you, Abhishek Prabhu and everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
My problem is different. Maybe I'll ask personally.
All right. Okay. Ritu 2.69. 2.69 is one of the most quoted words, and we will have one discussion with this. Ritu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation and purport both.
Translation only.
What is night for all beings is the time of awakening. Is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
So this day and night is not referring to the time difference between two countries. Example, we all right now are here in North America where it's day or afternoon time, and in India and around area, it's night time. So it's not referring to this day and night difference. So what exactly is this referring to? So night refers to period of inactivity or lack of interest, and day refers to period of interest or activity or stimulation. So what does this day refer to? It refers to that their activity of interest are different. For materialistic people, focus is sense gratification. Sense gratification is the day for materialistic people. And that day is actually night for spiritualists, because sense gratification is like chewing the chewed again and again. We have lived for 155 trillion years in different life forms, where sense gratification is what we have been doing. We are just doing this chewing the chewed again and again. We have been enjoying sense gratification in lower forms of species, and we are trying to continue the sense gratification in human form. But human form is meant for something higher, for spirituality, instead of wasting time on sense gratification, because it is only in the human form that spirituality is possible. What is perceived as day of great interest for materialists is perceived as period of lack of interest. Meaning it doesn't, for what the materialists consider as day or period of interest, the transcendentalists have no meaning or no substance to that. Hence, what is day for materialist is night for spiritualist. And what is day for spiritualist is night for materialist. I'll give you an example, my own personal example for this. Let me first explain. So day refers to the phase of interest and activity. So for a spiritualist, interest is self-realization. Interest is advancement in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, devotees chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read scriptures, try to build relationship with devotees and with Krishna. This chanting, so once you get initiated like how I am initiated, where 16 rounds of japa is mandatory, at least 16 rounds, it takes about 2 hours every day. And this chanting for 2 hours is incomprehensible for materialist people. So we cannot live our spiritual life if we continue to hold material definition of success. Material people also have intelligence, which is material. But that intelligence is divorced from reality. There is different definition of enjoyment for spiritualists. So don't impose material definition on spiritual life. If you impose material enjoyment on spiritual life, not only will spiritual life be not happy, but we will be choking. I'll give you an example of this day and night. One time, so where I live, from my window on the backside of the home, I can, in a far distance, I can see the other homes, that something is going on in the TV. I cannot actually watch the TV, but I can judge that the TV is on and something is playing. So one time, I generally sleep early so that I can wake up early for my morning sadhana. So I'm going to sleep. I'm trying to pull the curtains. As I was pulling my curtains, I noticed that somebody was watching TV in the house on the backside of where I live. And next morning, when I woke up and I'm opening the curtains, so this is early morning, it's quite dark, before 4 a.m. or even around 3 a.m. that same house, that TV was on. I don't know if the same person was watching, but it was night time. That was the period of activity for that person. While when I woke up, it was still dark. But what was my period of activity? My period of activity was to do the sadhana, which includes chanting, offering bhoga to Gopinath, studying scriptures. I'll pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. Everybody clear on the day and night verse?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Rest of you, you are silent.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Prabhuji.
All right, thank you. Neha, 2.70 translation. Smith Prabhu, 2.70.
2.70 translation. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled out, is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
Kama Kami, desirer of desirers. That's a key point in this verse. Krishna will describe how to experience inner happiness, meaning move from lower level to higher level of happiness. So desirer of desire means normally we think desire to be outwards. When I see, I get desire that I want it. But Krishna is saying when senses come in contact with sense object, they inject desires inside me. But when desires come in, one does not, or at least one should not become the desirer of desires. Meaning, we don't accept those desires. We don't say yes to the proposition, just as a salesperson comes to the door. But we say no to the salesperson because I'm not interested. Similarly, desires may come inside, but we say no to the desires. Hence, don't become desirer of desires. That desires will come inside, you cannot stop. But desires should not go outside, meaning do not act on those desires. We discussed this earlier, that having thoughts is not wrong. Acting on those thoughts, specifically wrong thoughts, is where the problem begins. And the example given is that ocean does not overflow when more water comes in. Like the river, not just some 1 or 2 bucket of water, but the whole river flows into the ocean. But the ocean is still steady. But if a small puddle is there, say somewhere on the road, and more water overflows from wherever the water comes, the small puddle overflows. So what's the difference? This refers to happiness. If we are internally like an ocean, that we are remembering Krishna, and Krishna is Anand Sagar, that he is the ocean of joy, meaning we are satisfied, fully absorbed in Krishna, in happiness. And when some other sense object comes in saying, let's enjoy, your response to that some others enjoying sense object will be, no, but I am already happy. I don't need that lower happiness. I am happy and satisfied just as the ocean. So even if those desires come in, Just as the ocean is not agitated, similarly for a sthita prajna, those who are satisfied internally, the desires don't agitate them. So do not entertain desires. Now you can break down the word entertain as enter and retain. When desires come in, I should not entertain. But materialistic person lets the desire enter and then they retain. Not only retain, they even water those desires to grow the desires more and more and more, materialistic desires. So the materialistic are desirer of desires. And that's where the entertain, you can break that. The desires enter and they retain and water the desires. But we have to come to the point of being like an ocean, that we are satisfied internally. No matter the amount of desires that come in, it should not agitate us. But on the other hand, if my heart inside is like a puddle where there is little to no happiness of spirituality, then any proposal from sense objects, we will fall prey to it because there is no other happiness available. Devotees with the practice of sadhana, they invoke the remembrance of Krishna that frees us from the agitation of material enjoyment. And Krishna says, only such a person will attain peace. So here's a real punchline. Peace comes not by indulgence, but by transcendence. I will repeat this very important punchline, that peace comes not by indulgence, but by transcendence. Questions, comments, realizations? Monarch Prabhu, 71 translation and the first two lines in the purport.
Hare Krishna 2.71. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Purport: to become desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. In other words, desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actually desirelessness.
So you cannot become desireless. You cannot empty your mind. You have to spiritualize your desires by desiring for Krishna. That is actual desirelessness. That you engage your mind 24 hours in spiritual activities. That way, you proactively are desiring for Krishna and proactively are engaging your mind in Krishna conscious activities. How many of you have a to-do list? Everybody quickly. How many of you have a to-do list?
I
Yes.
have one.
I do.
Yeah.
And is there always something or the other left over from your to-do list that you carry over to following day or following week?
Yes, always. Prabhuji.
Always.
So I also have a to-do list, and I also have a to-do list of spiritual activities. My to-do list of spiritual activities will always have something or the other left over. So whenever I am done with my material bare minimum task, I will open my spiritual to-do list and try to finish the task one after the other. And just as the material world to-do list, the spiritual world to-do list will always have something left over. This is how you proactively engage your mind so that there is little to no room for mind to deviate. Now, this spiritual to-do list does not mean that tomorrow you will have a spiritual to-do list which is overflowing. No, start somewhere. Try to read more and more scriptures. Try to attend more and more classes. I give you spiritual endeavors which generally should keep you engaged throughout your week, or at least some part of your week. Try to do it as soon as possible. I also shared at our last class that soon at batch number 5, the other scriptures of Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Sri Upanishad and Srimad Bhagavatam will start. So try to engage yourself proactively in these other scriptures. By the time the other scriptures will start, you will have some level of solid foundation in Bhagavad Gita, and you will be well prepared to attend those classes simultaneously. Questions, comments, realizations, is that a fair task to endeavor for?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Rest of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, thank you everybody. Last verse for today. I think many of you have read. Whosoever has not read would like to read. 2.72 translation. Who did not read?
I can read.
Yeah, Matan Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay, so verse 72. That is the way of spiritual and godly life. After attaining which a man is not bewildered, if one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
So 2.70 and 71 talked about the stage of Shanti. 2.72 says that when one attains the stage described in 2.70 and 71, the previous verses we discussed, then 2.72 says that one will not be bewildered. So Krishna says, if one stays in this stage of Shanti, there will be two results. One will not be deluded, and second is one will become liberated. And in this 2.72, this is the first reference in Bhagavad Gita to the significance of Antakale. Antakale means at the moment of death, that we need special consciousness at the moment of death, and we have to strive to cultivate that consciousness throughout our life. So Acharyas have explained that death is very difficult. Death is like 1,000 scorpions biting you simultaneously. So in that time, if you try to remember Krishna, it is very difficult. I'll tell you my practical example, that many of you have seen me recite verses from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and many other scriptures like a parrot. And one time I had gone to a dentist for just filling. It wasn't even some major surgery. It was just filling. But still the dentist has to drill a little bit. So while I am at the dentist, I'm trying to be Krishna conscious by trying to memorize verses while I'm lying there. I have no other activity. I'm just lying there. So I'm trying to memorize verses in my head, but my bodily attachment is so strong that just that feeling, that tiny drilling that the dentist had to do, I could not remember the verse. It was mind-boggling that I could not remember the verses. And soon after I came out of the dentist, I was like again reciting the verses like this. So what happens is death is difficult. Therefore, Acharyas have described that don't try to remember Krishna at the moment of death. Rather, try to remember Krishna throughout your life by doing devotional services, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by studying scriptures. That way, Krishna will remember you at the moment of death. So this 2.72 verse is also a hint towards Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the via medium through which we can attain Krishna. Srimati Radharani gives bhakti to everyone. Therefore, the word Brahmi Sthiti in the verse, in the Sanskrit verse, if you go to the Sanskrit of 2.72, in the very first line it says Brahmi Sthiti. That refers to Srimati Radharani. In the entire Bhagavad Gita, Srimati Radharani is referred to only in 2.72 and in 9.13. Plus, of course, Srila Prabhupada started the invocation prayers by offering prayers to Srimati Radharani, which is Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye. Now, this stage, which is described in 2.72, is a very elevated state of Krishna consciousness. And once we achieve this state, we do not fall back. Thus, we have completed chapter 2. I will pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. We'll come to some practical aspects. So I had said that Matan Prabhu has a question.
Yeah, I just want to ask about the internal happiness. The happiness doesn't come from externally, it's only internally. So does it come from the soul, or is it like our internal body?
It comes from the soul. So we have discussed this in chapter 2, that internal does not refer to mind or whatever inside is in me. Internal refers to soul. So the internal happiness has to be from the soul. When you are able to perceive your soul, you will be able to connect to Krishna through the soul. And Krishna is Anand Sagar, means the ocean of happiness. That's the internal happiness is referred to.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Rest of you? So I had explained at the start of chapter 2 that chapter 2 is going to overwhelm you. Are you all overwhelmed? Do you all understand what has been happening so far?
Sort of, yes, Prabhuji, but not completely, since it was a summary high level.
Okay. Rest of you?
Yes, Prabhuji, quite overwhelming. Prabhuji, is it okay if you can repeat that line on indulgence and transcendence? I just wanted to write it down.
Yeah, I will explain. Peace comes not by indulgence, but by transcendence. So
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So I'll explain that many things, that I have so and so desire. Let me just fulfill my desire and I will attain peace. No, it doesn't work that way. Because the more you indulge in sense gratification, it acts as fire to the fuel. It doesn't give you peace. Therefore, peace does not come by indulgence. Rather, peace comes by transcendence, means you have to transcend the desire to enjoy at bodily level. You have to transcend to finding peace at the soul level. Does that help you, Paulomi and everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Rest of you, are you all overwhelmed?
Yes, Prabhuji, definitely.
I don't know what silence means from rest of you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So not to worry about overwhelm, I had already explained that when we will populate the chapter 1 and 2 summary, so that's our next class. So I have sent to all of you the summary chart which is there on the screen. Print this chart on a legal size page. There are 2 pages to it. and we will populate this at our next class, which should help you ease some of the anxiety. Plus, of course, rest of the answers do come from rest of Bhagavad Gita also. Do all of you have this chapter 1 and 2 chart which is there on the screen, or do you want me to post it again in the chat?
Yes, Prabhuji, can you post that again?
Okay, let me post it again. Okay, I posted it again. Please print. Okay. Questions, comments, realizations? So I had asked last time all of you, if you happen to hear the advertisement of the lottery, and we use the 2.62 as an example to practice remembering 2.62 or reciting the Dhyayat. Anybody had the chance to hear or read or listen or see lottery advertisement?
No, Prabhuji, not me.
Anybody else? It comes quite frequently.
Prabhuji, not the ad, but one of my colleagues always talks about winning a lottery. So
Yeah.
it's funny.
Okay. And what did you do?
Pardon?
What did you do, Dara? Did you remember 2.62 Dhyayato in the imagination verse?
The gist of it. I didn't.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's a good start. And you can little by little memorize the verses. Okay, very rest of you. So the other spiritual endeavor, so I explained that 1st of December Sunday, we all will be going to Toronto Temple for services from 1 p.m. onwards. If you do plan to come, please let me know ahead of time. And if you have not done services with me before, then you will have to call me before coming to the temple so that I can prepare you what to do and what not to do and how to come to the temple with proper mood. Service is not a mechanical task. So there are few individuals who have done services at the temple that I know, those who are present here. Right? Smith Prabhu, Ritu, Monarch, Mansi, I definitely know you have done services. Paulomi has also done services, but not with me. So I request you to speak with me. Dhara, I'm not sure if you, yes, you said you do some services. So we'll be doing services in the kitchen. So there is specifics you need to follow because kitchen is an extension of the altar. So it doesn't become an offense. So speak to me offline. And either way, let me know, as well as from those who listen to the class recording. I know Gulshan has done services, but not with me and our team. So I request Gulshan also to please connect with me. And whosoever listens, if you're interested in services, let me know ahead of time so I can plan accordingly in terms of how many devotees I need for services. So yes, Abhishek Prabhu, we will be memorizing verses. We don't record. We are too occupied to record. Plus there is so much noise, it will be impossible for you to listen to anything. So we practice and devotees will come back and explain what their experience was and you can learn from there. Although Abhishek Prabhu, you already know, you have also done services with me at the Toronto Temple. So you already know about it. The other I had explained at our previous class. So what you see on screen is that from 7th December, Saturday, 8th December, Sunday, we'll be rearranging the classes. So this batch number 6 will become at the new time, 9:45 a.m. Toronto time, potentially may change to 9:30 also. I still have 2 weeks left. So I will post message, but will be around this time where we'll merge batch number 6 and 7, and all of a sudden the volume of devotees will become double. So you have roughly 15 devotees in batch 6 and about 15 in batch 7, and all of a sudden this will become very big. So simultaneous to this, I had also shared the next slide that from February 2025 onwards, Nectar of Instruction will start, then Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Sheesh Upanishad, and from mid-July, Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can aim to engage your mind proactively in this other batch as well. That way it will leave you a very little time for mind to deviate. Just as I said, make a spiritual to-do list where you will always have something to do. So the batch 5 class, which I had shown on the previous slide, will be Toronto time on Sundays, will be around the same 9:30, 9:45 a.m. So that devotees from batch 6 and 7 can join the batch 5 group for the other scriptures. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
I am following up with the classes. It's actually very heavy, so it's going slowly.
That's okay. It is
It's
heavy. I already told you that these are heavy discussions. So when you next class, when we will populate the chapter 1 and chapter 2 summary,
yes.
that should help you get caught up.
Okay.
And some of you, those who are present here virtually, as well as those who listen, if you have missed any of the classes, can get the individual classes. There's a lot of details, or at least aim to attend the next class, and you will get caught up with the intention that you will not miss on a go forward basis. If you keep missing classes and if you don't listen to the recording, then you will always be missing something. You will always be behind on something. So try to get caught up, and follow me. If you try to take detailed notes, you will get bogged down.
Yes, I think I've been doing that a lot. So
Yeah, right
maybe I
now,
should.
listen at a faster
Okay.
pace so you understand what is going on, so that you are caught up
Yeah.
with our current. You can listen, take detailed notes later on. Bhagavad Gita, one time study, it doesn't register.
That's exactly what's happening. It's not registering, so I'm blaming myself, I think.
How many times do you think I have read Bhagavad Gita?
I don't know, Prabhuji. A lot of times, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have read many multiple times. Some of you know the number. It's a pretty big number. And it's not that after that big number, I have stopped reading. No, I have only stopped counting. I read every day. Right? So Bhagavad Gita one time read is not possible to register unless you are purified enough.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think it removes my guilt that it's okay to like relax and enjoy and
Correct.
take the essence, then
Yeah.
think of it as a study book.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Try to get caught up so that what happens is I'm posting Prabhupada lectures which are relevant to what we are discussing, and it will help you. It will all register little by little. Everything will start registering.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Rest of you, any questions, comments, realizations? Any challenges? Okay, for rest of the class, I will answer inquiries that were submitted by devotees on the Google form. And these are inquiries, some leftover from the previous classes and some new inquiries also, although I do not expect to completely answer all the inquiries because the count of inquiries is way too much more than what our time will permit. So I will answer the leftover inquiries in subsequent classes. So I will continue from where we left off. So if you recall, I had answered up to inquiry number 12 at our last class. So I will continue from inquiry number 13. Number 13, should you desire to enjoy the material world or not? The answer is, even if you want to enjoy the material world, there is no such thing as enjoyment in the material world to begin with. As is explained in Bhagavad Gita 8.16, that material world is a place of misery. There is only illusion of enjoyment. In reality, there is no such thing as enjoyment in the material world. Instead of wanting to enjoy at bodily sensual level, we should try to find happiness in doing devotional services, studying scriptures, doing japa. This is how you live at the level of soul in the material world. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.33, having come to this miserable temporary material world, engage in devotional service. Mansi, I think you did not read earlier. You want to read 9.33 translation?
Yes, Prabhuji, sure. 9.33. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmins, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Right?
Hare Krishna.
Having come to this temporary, miserable material world, engage in devotional service to Krishna. So there is no such thing as happiness to begin with. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay, I have silence. Question number 14. How do we relate Krishna consciousness to traveling alone in nature? Do we just remember Krishna or try to relate and reason why we are doing this for Krishna? Super excellent practical inquiry. We will have lot of practical exercise later in our Bhagavad Gita study on how to see Krishna 24 hours around us. For chapter 1 exercise, what you can see, almost all of you responded that I can see material things, family, misery, and no one stated that I can see Krishna, even though Krishna is all around us. Therefore, the next level of progression is to see how everything in the material world comes from a tiny spark of Krishna. And if all these things in the material world are beautiful, even though coming from a tiny spark of Krishna, then how beautiful the whole Krishna will be. This way, you use the zillions of beautiful things in the material world to remember Krishna. And your thought will change from I cannot remember Krishna to I cannot forget Krishna. How many of you want to come to this level that I cannot forget Krishna? And does that answer the question?
Yes, Prabhuji, I also feel like instead of, I should not forget Krishna. Yeah.
Very good. Rest of you? Silence from rest of you?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, for what?
I do not want to forget Krishna.
Very good. So we'll do a lot of practices for all of this. But there's no such thing as enjoyment. We just have to find from scriptures, not by imagination. From scriptures, we will learn how to see Krishna 24 hours around us. Everybody prepared for this?
Yes,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. How do we know things are essential? So when you endeavor in the material world, endeavor is required, but nectar of instruction, text number 2, condemns over endeavor. So if you want to say become a CEO of a company, go ahead and endeavor to become CEO as long as you have balance between material and spiritual duties. But if in the process of becoming a CEO, you end up working 12, 15, 20, 24 hours and you have no time for spirituality, then that is not your prescribed duty. That is not essential. Prescribed duty or essential duty means that honorable duty that allows you to keep your body and soul together, maintain your family, and simultaneously allows you enough time for spiritual advancement. That's how you know that you are doing things which are essential. Everybody on the same page? Does that answer?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So question answers are interactive. You can ask follow-up questions or at least response whether it answers or does not answer. Okay, number 16. Does it mean that we should not love material life? I feel like material life is beautiful, whatever it is, when you seek truth and solve problems. So I already answered this couple questions ago, that there is no such thing as enjoyment in material world. There is no such thing as love in the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam describes at great length, there is no such thing as love in the material world. Rather, what we have to do is when we find satisfaction in material world as devotional service to Krishna, that's where we should be. But if we try to find satisfaction in material world separate from Krishna, means we are in illusion. Does that answer?
Yes, Prabhuji. And I think I agree with what you just said. And I just want to add one thing is in this material world, there's nothing as love that you said. And I think instead of love, it's all attachment.
Okay, correct. You are
Yeah.
almost repeating what Srimad Bhagavatam describes in Canto 3, towards the later part of Canto 3, that there is no such thing as love. It's all about attachment. It's all about sense gratification only.
Yeah.
Very good. Onar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, further to this discussion, like what is that feeling that mother has for her children, whether it is a love or attachment?
Yeah, very good. In the same Srimad Bhagavatam that I'm referring to, where it says there is no love, this example of mother's love for a child, at least for a newborn child, is actually described. That mother's unconditional love for a newborn child, at least, is very close to the love that you have in spiritual world. Now, in the material world, even the mother's love for the child, if you actually see through, mother may have down the line, not immediately, but down the line may have this thought at the back of the mind that when my child grows, the child will take care of the family as well. So there is a tinge of contamination, but the mother's love, at least for the newborn child, is very much close to the love that is there in spiritual world for all souls to Krishna. unconditional love. Monarch Prabhu?
Understood, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Very good reference. Is very much in the same series of verses. This analogy is actually given about mother's love for the child. Very good. Dara?
Prabhuji, I have a follow-up question for number 13.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do we do when you get invited by friends and family and you decline it respectfully, and yet they force you and keep insisting? How do you respond to that?
Yeah. If you build your devotee association circle more and more, then there will be no time left for spiritual circle. And this is described at great length in Nectar of Instruction, text number 2 and text number 3. The word Sangatyaga comes. Sangatyaga means refers to give up material association. So Nectar of Instruction, text number 2 describes 6 activities that are harmful for your devotional life. One of them is materialistic association, that give up materialistic association. And Nectar of Instruction, text number 3 describes 6 activities that are favorable for devotee, favorable for spiritual growth. And this sadhu sangha, which is almost similar to association or giving up association, and how you give up association of materialist is by associating with devotees. That you associate with devotees, you engage in programs with devotees, you will have no time. So next time somebody from your material world circle says, hey Dara, I want you to come for this so-and-so program, and you will say, no, I am already occupied to go to this kirtan or to go to this home program with devotees. So you will not have that guilt. Right now, you seem to be having this guilt that what do I do with this? Understand that material association is going to contaminate you. We'll discuss this association part at great length in Nectar of Instruction. I will briefly describe right now that with materialistic people, we do not take their association, rather we give our association. What this means in practice, if you have materialistic friends or even say workplace, after work they go to parties, I don't go to parties with them. If you associate with materialistic people and they have material desires, and when you come back home and you also end up saying, oh, you know what, that desire that my friend has, I also want that. You basically took their association.
Yeah.
Rather, what you have to do is give your association. How you give your association is, it's not that you have to cut off your material life completely. Rather, you give your association by introducing them to Bhagavad Gita, by introducing them to come to Sunday feast as much as possible. I'm not saying 100% of you are going to be successful in that. As much as possible. For bare minimum, say you have family where you have immediate family, you have some functions where you have to go, you have to go. As long as you try to remember Krishna, as long as you try to bring others to Krishna consciousness during your visit to them. So many devotees from our various batches throughout the years, they travel between India and Canada or whatever countries they come from. So they proactively take Srila Prabhupada's lectures or class recordings, and on the airplane, they will not watch TV, they will not sleep, they will completely get caught up on everything. And at their destination where they are traveling, they will try to get one or more of those people into our bhakti classes. So what are they doing? Srila Prabhupada has said there is no need to travel. If you have to travel, travel only for preaching. So they are traveling where they have family, which is mandatory for them to travel, but they are using the travel for preaching endeavor. So try. I'm not saying you will be successful on day one, but try, and this will become second nature when you develop a lot of devotee association. So we discussed today that how to control mind is not by control. No. How to control mind and senses is by proactively making a hill of Krishna conscious activities in your mind. So you make friends with devotees. Next time you come for services, I will introduce you to devotees from across all batches, not just the devotees that are virtually present in our class right now. You will make friends with all of them.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, you will have so many devotees, and somebody will have a program on something, some other will have something or the other. You will not have that guilt to say no to your materialistic family or friends, because you are actually engaged rather than artificially saying no. Tara, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank
Again,
you.
it's a work in progress. It will vary according to time, place, and circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good practical inquiry. Okay. Question number 17. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas at the age of 24, and no one else was there to look after their family. Even if it was done for higher cause and for discharging higher duties and means of achieving liberation from material bondage, is it justified? What about family and worldly duties? So I will bring up verse from Srimad Bhagavatam on screen. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13.46 describes that we ourselves are under the strict control of guna, kala, and karma. Therefore, we cannot give protection to anyone. It is only the Lord who gives protection to everyone. So let's read from 1.13.46. I think everybody read. Who wants to read? Jinal, would you like to read the translation from screen?
Yes, Prabhuji. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others?
Right. So we think that we will protect friends and family. Arey Baba, it's not possible. You yourself are under the jaws of serpent, of kala, karma, and guna. So Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. He is already protecting every single living entity. Hence, his taking sannyas has no change of him giving protection to all living entities, including his family, including his enemies, does not matter. He still is giving protection to everyone. Does that answer the question? All right. Question number 18. Bhagavad Gita 2.17 purport. When the soul is purified from the contamination of 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. Question is, what are these 5 kinds of air? So if you read 2.17 purport, it also gives the names of these 5 kinds of air, which are prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 3.26, verse number 37 and 38 describes that only by the action of the air in the body that everything moves. And when air circulation is impeded, which results in many diseases, for example, paralysis, nervous breakdown, madness, and many other diseases are due to insufficient circulation of air. Many activities are going on internally and externally because of air alone. And as soon as there is some deficiency in air circulation, these activities cannot take place. There are more details available, but because we have no control on the movement of air, only brief description is provided and discussed here. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay, now there are a series of short questions. Question number 19, Bhagavad Gita 2.18 purport. What is Hatha Yoga? So Hatha Yoga is referring to the bodily yoga exercises that are very common in the material world. But we have discussed the yoga that Bhagavad Gita teaches is yoga means to connect with the Supreme. Question number 20, Bhagavad Gita 2.45 purport. All material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. What are these three modes? Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 describes the three modes in a lot of detail. 14.5 verse describes that there are three modes, which are mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. 2.44 purport. What is Nirukti? So the 2.44 purport also describes that Nirukti is a Vedic dictionary, just as we have an English dictionary. Similarly, Nirukti is a Vedic dictionary. All of you can please feel free to ask follow-up questions as I'm answering, because these are answers are pretty short for all of these. Bhagavad Gita 2.45 purport. Question is how to achieve transcendental position. So Arjuna asks almost identical question in 14.20. I'm going by my reference, I think plus minus one verse. That how to transcend the modes of material nature. And the answer Krishna gives in 14.26. 14.26 is a key memorization verse. Mam chayo avyabhicharine bhakti yogena sevate. Sagunan samanti etan brahma bhuya kalpate. That avyabhicharine means unfailing in all circumstances. If you do devotional service, then you transcend the modes of material nature and you reach Brahma Bhuya Kalpate means you attain transcendental position. I'll give you a practical example of Avyabhicharine Bhakti. Here in Toronto, all of you have seen snow. So devotees have services at the temple, and if it snows little, devotees will say, oh, I am not coming for service because it is snowing. Even though it is little snow, the devotee knows that it will take longer time to travel, so he chooses not to come for service. This is not Avyabhicharine Bhakti. You are not going to cross the modes like this. Avyabhicharine Bhakti means no matter what, I will do my services. Now, if it's a significant snowstorm where driving is a hazard, that's an understandable that you can skip your service. But little bit of snow and you say, no, I cannot come. That is not Avyabhicharine. Everybody on the same page? Okay. 2.47 purport. Please explain three considerations. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada states that there are three considerations: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. So prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one's acquired modes of material nature. Prescribed duty refers to the karma that we do. Capricious work means action without sanction of authority, generally means vikarma. And inaction means not performing one's prescribed duties. Question 24. Can we practice yoga by chanting? Yes, chanting is the means to perform yoga. Yoga means to connect with Supreme Lord. So we have heard this in Srila Prabhupada's earlier lecture on 2.13, where Prabhupada explains what does chanting mean. Anybody remembers? Many of you populated the answer on the Google form also. What does chanting mean? Somebody?
Hare
Please.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Where Mona,
Uh,
Prabhu?
So Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So Hare refers to Srimati Radharani and Krishna refers to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by doing chanting, we try to remember Krishna 24 hours a day.
Okay. There was a specific definition also given. Matan Prabhu?
yeah, please engage me in your service.
Chanting Hare Krishna means please engage me in your service. Very good. Abhishek Prabhu?
No, I remember that in one lecture, Sri Prabhupada was saying that we want to call or remember Krishna all the time, and when we call him, we are in his remembrance.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, correct point. That chanting means asking Sri Radha Krishna that please engage me in their services. Oh, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service. This is yoga or connecting with the Supreme. Of course, chanting is also remembering because you are calling out their names. Very good. Ritu?
Yes, we are asking God, please be merciful upon us. We are requesting both Radharani and Bhagavan Krishna. And we are also asking them, don't neglect me from your lotus feet.
Yeah, very good. Very good, correct. Okay, 25. How can we attain Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga? That is our bottom line goal. It's part of our study. By doing devotional service 24 hours, meaning by dovetailing your day-to-day activities as Krishna conscious activities, you will be at the level of Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga at its highest form, which is Bhakti Yoga. So far, we are studying theory. Little by little, we will discuss and learn to dovetail our day-to-day life as Krishna conscious. I have given you practical examples, some of it. And we will continue to discuss the practical examples as well as practice. Does that answer the question?
So I have a question. So Buddhi Yoga means we do the yoga with the knowledge.
You are using your intelligence to engage in Krishna's service. So knowledge is different. Knowledge does not refer to buddhi. This confusion Arjuna is going to have from 2.49, and therefore he is going to ask a question at the start of chapter 3. So it's not knowledge. Buddhi does not mean knowledge. Buddhi means intelligence, that you are using your intelligence, not how to enjoy intelligently in the material world. Rather, you are using your intelligence to engage in devotional service. Matan Prabhu?
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Tara?
Prabhu, the question is about question 24.
Yeah.
In the Mahamantra, we have Krishna, Hare Krishna, and then Hare Ram. We're always talking about Krishna. There is no mention of Ram anywhere. So why is Ram in the Mahamantra?
So the mantra is coming directly from spiritual world. What Krishna did was he created this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and infused all his potency in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Rama refers to the enjoyment part. So why we all only talk of Srimati Radharani and Krishna is because of the rasa. Somebody may have the rasa towards Lord Ram, and he will be more inclined towards following Ramayana. So there was one devotee in one of the previous batches who came to the Bhagavad Gita classes and then called me offline saying, but I have attachment for Lord Ram. I want to study Ramayana. I said, yes, very good. It's a correct approach that because you have attachment for Lord Ram, therefore you would like to hear pastimes about Lord Ram. But we all have attachment, whether or not we know, we all have attachment towards Krishna. Therefore we talk about Krishna.
Okay.
But there is no difference between Krishna and Lord Ram are identical personalities, just in different forms appeared in different yugas.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Question number 26. How can we reach the platform of understanding by doing devotional service to Lord Krishna? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Tadami buddhi yogam tam, that those who do devotional service, Krishna gives them the intelligence by which devotee returns to Krishna. So you just focus on doing devotional service. Rest is Krishna's problem to give you the intelligence. Okay, 27. What is the meaning of speaking only about Krishna and matters related to him? How can this be implemented in the practical world? So I briefly described earlier that at your workplace, be functionally present. When someone comes to ask you for something work related, so you are at the workplace for that task to perform. So that is your duty. Answer that. And after this work is completed, this work-related work is completed, do not enter into any gossip discussion. Just leave the discussion. Or you may have some known individuals at your workplace with whom you may end up talking. Well, then convert the topic to Bhagavad Gita or Krishna. Little by little, you will come to this point. I will tell you, at my workplace, there are Indians like me. So they end up talking to me besides the work requirement. So I always generally try to keep a Bhagavad Gita on my desk. When they start talking something, I will look up a verse and I will make them read that verse. So what did I do? I did two things. I protected myself from gossip simultaneously by making them read that verse. I gave them Krishna and Prabhupada's association. And then they will ask me a question about Bhagavad Gita because they only read this one verse. So what happens? my gossip conversation becomes turned around into bhakti yoga. Now, don't apply blindly this at your workplace. You have to apply according to time, place, and circumstances. Initially, looking up verse may be a challenge, but I have given you examples of how to look up a verse from the Sanskrit index and the English index. Start somewhere. I also started somewhere, and now it's second nature to find those verses. Now, at times, say when you are with a senior staff members at your workplace, you may not be able to leave that conversation, or you may not be able to talk Bhagavad Gita. At such times, don't talk. Just tolerate what they are saying. So keep a copy of Bhagavad Gita at your desk. So if someone starts to gossip, find a relevant verse from Bhagavad Gita index and make your colleague read that verse. By practice, you should be able to look up verses from the index. By you making colleague read, you are protecting yourself from gossip and giving association of Prabhupada and Krishna to them. So this becomes your preaching endeavor. So apply this on a go-forward basis according to time, place, and circumstances. Does that help? Okay. What are threefold miseries? Question number 28. The threefold miseries are miseries caused by us by other living entities, miseries caused to us by nature, and miseries caused by our own mind to ourselves. "29. Can chanting help in minimizing the miseries?" Nectar of Devotion describes 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. First of these 6 characteristics is Kleshagni. Kleshagni means relief from miseries. So chanting without offenses helps remove miseries, but more importantly, pure devotees' view towards miseries changes. That the pure devotee uses miseries to remember Krishna. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay, 30. How can we be unbothered if we are unsuccessful after multiple attempts, and if we are not getting success because we do everything we aim and goal in mind? So we discussed in Bhagavad Gita 2.47 that there are 3 levels of motivation for work. Lowest level is to work for results. This is how materialistic people live and work. Next level up is to work for purification only and not results. As devotees, we should strive to come to this second level of working in the material world only for purification, because soul can never be inactive. And then the highest level is to work for the satisfaction of Krishna. 31. How to withdraw our senses. So we discussed this, that if you try to withdraw your senses, meaning you try to control, you will fail. Rather, we discuss practical aspects today, that proper approach is to engage your senses proactively in Krishna's service. 32, last question for today. There are more questions after 32 also, but this is the last we'll discuss. Question 32 is, what is the meaning of Ashtanga Yoga and Yama, Niyam, Asana, Prayanam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi? So Ashtanga Yoga is one of the yoga process that one can follow where Ashtanga Yogi focuses on the Paramatma within. Ashtanga Yoga is described in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6. Ashtanga Yoga is not the recommended process in Kali Yuga. Earlier yugas, say during Satyuga, Ashtanga Yoga was possible and followed by many to attain perfection. Now these Yama, Niyama, Asana, Prayana, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi, these are the 8 stages that the Ashtanga Yogi goes through. So Yama means don't, mean things you don't have to do. Niyam means do's, things you have to follow. So Yama and Niyam are rules for discipline, meaning we regulate ourselves. Asana means sit in a proper position to do your sadhana. Prayana means to help your consciousness move inwards. This is controlling your breathing. Then Pratyahar is advanced level stage from where you cut off your senses. You don't feed your senses altogether. Dhyana means you meditate on Vishnu. Dharana means you control or you fix your mind in absorption. And Samadhi means you are in complete trance. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. We are very close to 4 p.m. here in Toronto time. So next class, bring this chart to populate, as well as for chapter 2, for section 5, bring a blank page also, because section 5 will not fit on the chart. Just write on the blank page, and we'll go from there. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes, sir. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.